Yes, guys, how are we all doing? I hope we're well. It's been a while since I've done a live, to be fair. Um, I need to get back practicing. I do love it. I genuinely do. So, if you are on here, if you if you are, yes, we can already see people coming on. Make sure you say hello. How are we all doing? Give me a wave. Give me a comment. Hey, says Ryan from YouTube. I hope you're all well, guys. So I haven't done a live in a while, but something was I don't irking me a bit, right? So people always see me as this positive guy that just genuinely doesn't sees a positive in everything. But I do get a bit irked or a bit upset about things, just like everyone else, right? So don't think, genuinely that, some things do upset me and annoy me. Davina, how are you? From Bradford. Same here. Whereabouts in Bradford are you from, Davina? Let me know. George is along. Adam, how we doing, mate? You okay? Just building an audience, just pattering, and then I'll get into the what I'm going to be talking about. Oh wow, we've got quite a few people on. George, great to hear from you, mate. So I tell you why I got a bit irked is so there's a really kind of successful kind of very online-ish kind of brand in the acting industry, and I was a bit like, oh, they're doing really well. And obviously, when you run a kind of acting coaching organization, you should always kind of keep up with what's going on, what the trends are. So I've kind of gone in and I've kind of just dropped my email address and to see what it's all about, and I've kind of got some emails saying, oh, this and that. Basically, the type of emails which like come and join, come and join. But the one thing that really upset me, to be honest, was that all of the emails basically about come join. Hey, Emmanuel, how you doing? Were basically headlines, things like Emmerdale. Would you like to be on Emmerdale? Would you like to be on this? So basically, what they're doing is they're kind of taking actors' biggest desires and using it as kind of a marketing ploy. So really, when you start from something like that and you really engage people's real wants and passions and desires, from that stage, you can only, you can only really underdeliver from there. All right? Really, I always say, look, I want to underpromise and overdeliver. Now, really, what I found strange about this organization is it's kind of, I think, they probably do some very good work, but for me, it was kind of right. You sit and you watch, and you watch like a casting director or something like that, and they talk, and I'm thinking, but there's a missing link. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you really did want to be on Emmerdale, then surely you would need like a agent that was in touch with Emmerdale, or do you know what I mean? Like, so, and then I started questioning myself. I'm starting questioning myself, and listen, give me your feedback, guys. I started questioning myself, saying, do I under market myself? Now, at my organization, we have genuinely had plenty of auditions for Emmerdale, like genuinely, right? And for Game of Thrones, for huge shows. But I wouldn't feel comfortable in sending out an email to all of the people who I have on my network who are potential clients and going, do you want to be in Emmerdale? Basically selling them that as if that they're going to be on Emmerdale tomorrow when they sign up. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know why. Should I feel comfortable doing that? I don't get it. I just wouldn't personally do that, right? Because at the end of the day, the way that castings actually work is whether it's Emmerdale, whether it's another huge show, right? Then they need to create a role that matches you. That's a lottery. It's a huge lottery in this industry. You go and sell yourself based on who you are, your personality traits, and all of these things. And then it's an absolute lottery that a writer turns around and says, look, I want to, I want to create a character that is like this, and this. And then you have to, by virtue of literally a lottery, fall into that. All right. Now, the thing about acting is time goes by, and at some point, a lot of things are going to align, but not certain shows at certain times. The acting career as a whole is huge, and you can have such a rewarding career. I say to actors, look, if you want to be an actor, you can be an actor. You can have an acting business. You can give up the day job. I'm really positive about this. I know routes and ways in which people can literally ditch a day job. They can have an acting business. They can emerge. They can work their way up. So I actually sell things and talk about things that I know to be true, and I could actually literally palpably do with somebody who's willing to work hard. I could do that tomorrow. Okay. But I just think that misleading, as Emmanuel's put, or using people's fears, anxieties, or like deep down desires to kind of market a product, I just couldn't personally do that. And I think really for me, what I really pride myself on, guys, is that I under promise and over deliver, right? So I get actors in, and I really I say, look, if you work hard and if you take on a certain mindset, if you do certain things, then we can get some real results in this industry. We can do amazing things, and there's quite a few people on here who are actually proof of this, testament to that. Emmanuel, I agree. Thank you so much, mate. And you're one of the people I'm talking about, as you well know, right? But I think that to underpromise and overdeliver is the most ethical standard for a business. And I will always, always, always do that. And Jane Masters says, I agree. You are genuinely, genuinely one of the people I'm talking about. So I think to underpromise and overdeliver. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Here's the crux of it. Now, I am going to brag now. So we offer an agency for emerging talent. People join our organization and instantly have an agent. Now, this isn't an agent for extras. We don't do extra work. We have a certain standard of agency. This agency, and Matt Zena agency that runs alongside Matt Zena Acting, has had auditions with Emmerdale, has had auditions with Game of Thrones, has had main roles in Hollywood films, main roles in films with the main role opposite Stanley Tucci. We have had ridiculous, ridiculous standards of auditions that, unlike when people are trying to get an agency of a certain size that actually gives people access to auditions of this size, we do it with actors that kind of join us and have never acted before. But our agencies, because of the techniques that we and the kind of work that we've done, the longevity in the relationships, and kind of casting directors know what they're going to get. The size of the auditions that we get, main roles in Ackley Bridge and all these huge shows, Gentleman Jack. But do you ever see me literally come on daily on YouTube, on Instagram, just going, we could get you a part on Gentleman Jack. We could get you a part on this. We could get you a part on that. We could get you a part on this. Because what would that do? It would just play on people's biggest hopes and dreams and think, that would be a shortcut. If I go there, he's told me he will get me a part on, then they'll join, and then they'll realize that it requires some effort and some hard work. And I'm not prepared to do that. I could get people through the door like that if I started going on my CV of the types of auditions and the types of um, and the types of auditions and the types of roles that we've managed to get emerging actors in the north of England. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I could literally just come on day after day after day after day and go, right, I get people roles in Emmerdale. I get people roles in this. I get auditions for Game of Thrones. But just for me, I don't know why, ethically, I don't feel comfortable with that. Because for me, it's playing on people's real desires, and it's a kind of bit of a falsehood. Because basically, understand the casting process. Like I say, you come into this and you're waiting for quite a few things to align. Your personality traits, your profile, your personality traits, your value, and then you're waiting for that to align with a role where they start to think of, write a role based on personality traits of a character, of the value of the kind of actor they require, etc. And that needs to align. And I think that shortcut of coming on and ethically say, and unethically for me, saying Emmerdale, I just wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I prefer to under promise and over deliver. Okay. And I feel that that's a really, really important thing. That sometimes, I'll be honest, is just slightly lost in this industry, genuinely. Okay. And what I'd like to see now is a slight debate. All right. So I love this. Based on what I've said, because I am questioning this, by the way, guys. I'm not. When you fully not made your mind up, because I know that I could clear up if I just started marketing in a certain way. Putting all the big TV shows out there and kind of aligning myself and going, right, I'm the one that does this. I'm the one, because I don't want people to think that it's easy. Because I think when you go, I genuinely am actually directly, not watching, but directly in touch with Emmerdale. I am genuinely directly in touch with the types of casting directors that have, given up things like auditions for Game of Thrones. All right. I genuinely am. And I've done that for emerging talent. We've had auditions. All right. The point is where do you feel? What do you think? Should I start to advertise based on that basis? Should I? Am I selling myself short? Or do you think this kind of process of under promising and over delivering is ethically sound? That's just where I sit at the moment. But am I right? Okay. Let's have a look at some of the comments that we've had so far. All right. 100% says George, amazing. But actually, this is quite easy, guys, because the people that have agreed with me are the people that are aligned with me anyway. I'd like to maybe speak to somebody who's maybe not as aligned with me so far or hasn't been part of MZA. I'd like to hear what you think. All right. No, we don't see you doing that at all. Thanks, Emmanuel. So when I was saying about, kind of really over promising, just talking about auditions and shows, even though I could, because it's genuinely true. And it's not just talking about shows because I've maybe sitting with somebody to talk about it. I've actually got direct, I've taken people that I directly work with and put them in these auditions. All right. But that's not how I go to market. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I'd love to hear from somebody who maybe isn't part of MZA and has a view on this. All right. Adam says, you're always honest to the actors that you train. Adam, that means an awful lot. It really, really does. So thank you so much, because my integrity is a huge part of what I aim for every single day. So to have somebody comment like that is incredibly kind and makes you feel really, really good. So it makes me think like everything that I'm doing the right, doing in the right way. Okay. I love my company and I train some actors and I'm in London, all over the place. But I think that if I maybe ethically step down slightly, that I genuinely could be 4-5 times bigger in an instant. All right. But this is why I question it all the time, because maybe if I ethically went down a level but trained more people, would I be able to, in the end, get my ethical message across about the industry? But then again, would that attract more people who are looking for a shortcut? It's a really, really tough quandary that I've got, you know? Emmanuel says organizations that overpromise and underdeliver are usually organizations that tend to scam and exploit people. Right. Okay, that's a very strong view. And it really, really is. Listen, I agree with you that if somebody's going to scam someone, then genuinely they have to over promise and very much underdeliver. But I think there's middle ground as well, genuinely. I think there's people that over promise, and then when they kind of get in and around the organization, maybe they are a bit more ethical and things like that. But it's a debate, and it's a debate to be had. And it's something that I was questioning. And I thought, let's just get out online and talk about this. All right. Ryan's been on YouTube Live, and he's really, really contributed. All right. Ryan says, I know it sounds bad, but I put my acting down and then hopefully deliver. Okay, so you are saying that actually you underpromise yourself, or you underrepresent yourself and your ability, and then hope to over deliver. I see what you mean. Okay, it's a tough one as an actor, because you actually have to really sell yourself all of the time. All right, you really, really do. And it's kind of as an actor, sometimes you have to overpromise and over deliver. It's tough, isn't it? But then again, you can't really over promise, because your promise is actually the same thing, because an audition is you over delivering in order to then over deliver again, if that makes sense. So kind of promising is done by the agent, in a way. Okay. And Ryan says, my acting has improved so much thanks to you guys. That makes that means an awful lot. It really does. Okay. It really, really does. So if you're just getting joined in this debate, we're talking about under promising, over delivering. And from what I'm seeing, a lot of organizations that over promise and then under deliver. All right. And kind of these organizations that where, you kind of get emails saying, Emmerdale, do you want to be on Emmerdale? And I'm thinking, do I feel comfortable with that? Do I feel comfortable with that? Because it effectively, there's just an element of promise there. And I don't know if I feel comfortable with it. It's a question. Yes, I get that. But there can be a lot taken from a question. All right. Whereas, like I say, I would never really do that. Okay. I wouldn't feel comfortable, even though out of anyone, I could probably do that more than anyone, because we genuinely have huge auditions for our actors who are emerging talent. Let's have a look. Malk Z says there are hundreds of acting coaches saying they have all sorts of connections, but they don't have any substance behind their promises, and that leads to people being apprehensive, like they're overcompensating. How interesting. Absolutely. Well, the problem is, I think that you have to be able to prove things. All right. So, for instance, the things I've just said are on open forum. So if you go to mzacting.com, we actually have our CV on there, our CV for what our clients have actually managed to achieve. Kind of when I say our CV, it's kind of our it's actually under the section saying agency and credits. I'm looking at it right now. And it's all the things that our clients have been in. So I think you have to be able to back these things up with proof. All right. But it's been a really, really interesting debate, really. So actually, because I've not been live for a while, has anybody got any general questions? I'd be so happy to answer it live, okay, about this career, about acting, about anything. All right. Well, not anything. All right. I don't want to be answering questions like what day do you put your bins out, because I wouldn't know that. I'm not part of your county council. But anything about acting. Jane came on and just said, I agree with everything you've said. It's better to under promise and over deliver. I genuinely agree. Okay. But I'm still questioning my under promising. Is that an Achilles heel? Should I be maybe appealing to more actors in a way that actors could be appealed to? maybe based on the things that I can prove, and then, where do those two things lie? I'm questioning it daily, actors, if you've got any questions, you've got this time with me for the next 5 minutes. All right. So when you get those questions about your career that you wish that an acting coach of over 20 plus years could answer, I am right here. I'm here for you. Okay. Ryan says, I find that there is a lot of castings that overpromise and usually scams. Just on castings, yeah, absolutely. And I'll deal with that as if it was a question. Scams, particularly, obviously, in self submissions now, are on the rise. And you just have to be really smart, guys. It's just like in any scam, there's usually one rule with scams, and that is that if it seems too good to be true, it usually is. If they ask for any money up front, it's a no, it's a scam. If you can see that they are kind of trying to take you somewhere where then they're going to take money off you, then it's usually a scam. If you, for instance, are unsure, you can do something very simple, which is name of company and put in something like review. And you will find usually on Google that somebody has had a negative experience with said person or said organization. So do your research. Don't just go into everything blind, all right? Because it is becoming more prevalent, but we have to be smart, guys. Right, let's have a look. How do you improve with things like body language when you do scenes and things like voice intonation? That sounds like a really well-formulated question, but well done. But here's the crux of it, mate, okay? The problem is if you're thinking about your body language, if you are thinking about your intonation or your voice, other than maybe doing an accent, and even when you do an accent, you should get it to the stage where it's impulsive and instinctive. If you're thinking about those two things, you genuinely aren't in the correct kind of space in your head. Let's call it that. All right. You should be not acting, you should be existing. And if you're existing, you're not thinking about your body language. You're not thinking about your intonation, even your voice, particularly. All right. So, what you need to do is think, right, rather than trying to manage all of these different aspects of my performance, how can I get myself into a certain space in my head where rather than acting, I am existing? It'll take the pressure off you. You will act more truthfully. You will act more instinctively, more impulsively, and you will deliver dynamite performances. Okay. I hope that helped. That's getting clipped. That was good by me. Okay. All right. But really good question as well. Okay. Let's have a look. Emmanuel Ale. How do you respond to negative criticism based on your acting and performances? This is brilliant, and a brilliant question, Emmanuel. There's a problem in our industry, okay, Emmanuel? And the problem in our industry is that acting coaches do not know the difference between subjectivity and objectivity. Emmanuel, subjectivity is things that are preferences, people, how they feel about something. Objectivity is, look, the nuts and bolts. From a technical standpoint, how was that performance? Now, here's the thing, Emmanuel. 80% of this industry and people's performances is really subjective. It's how we feel about it. And only 20% of it is literally the nuts and bolts, the training and this, and you could do this and this technique, can it be better? This is what acting coaches up and down the country and all around the world get wrong, is they think it's their right to comment about your performance based on how they feel about it, the subjectivity of it. So they will say, well, I don't like that. But for me, it's like, well, how dare they say they don't like that? When really, if you think about it, they might not like it, but Steven Spielberg might. Does that make sense? Now, what you need to do if you're an actor in an acting class and you're getting criticism and feedback is you need to just take from it and make sure that the criticism you're getting on your performance is based upon the actual technique that you're applying. All right? Does that make sense? Not how the acting coach feels about it. Directors, they can have a say about how they feel about it. All right, the subjectivity, that makes sense. All right, because they've got to feel some. It's up to them. It's their gig. But an acting coach should not be criticizing people on how they feel about the performance, the subjectivity of it. They should only be really criticizing an actor based on the technique. Carlina, how are you? Says hello. All right, does that make sense? So again, Emmanuel, come back to me. How do you feel about that? And how are you going to, in the future, really start to unpick the kind of criticism that you get? Okay. Jane says, I've come across a few scams, especially on Facebook. Absolutely. So the golden rules. In fact, I will come on and do some content purely on scams and how to ensure that you bypass all of these scams. All right. But again, I'll very quickly go over it in case anyone's joined. Scams. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. All right. Huge wage and, on a self submission without an agent. By the way, it wouldn't be a hugely paid job because they would need to go for an agent, because agents like myself, we have over lots of years have learned how to actually go through a contract. They wouldn't give money away without a contract, so it's not going to be huge wage. So if you see that, it's a big red flag. If it's too good to be true, it's probably a scam. Secondly, if anybody wants money up front, no. All right. I've heard things like, right, you've got to buy into this film or be part of this, or, or buy in or pay for this or pay. No. Thirdly, if it's like, right, well, they're going to get you somewhere and maybe ask you to, they're going to ask for money when you get there, and things like that. Just always put in the name of the production company and always put in the name of the director or something and put reviews, or just try and do that, a little bit of extra research. Okay. And if you're unsure, particularly for a member of MZA, come and ask me. Always happy. All right. Always happy to help. I don't like seeing people get scammed. It's the only time I go off my rocker and start really getting annoyed and upset. Listen, I'm going to bring it to a close. I've had an amazing time. I've really enjoyed being live to the point where I'm going to try and do it. In fact, I never use the word try. It's a really bad thing to use. Okay. It's bad language. And I'll say it's bad language. Why? Because you should never try. You should either do or don't do. That's it. If anybody would like a free trial at my acting school, we are in London. We are in Leeds. We are in York, Halifax. We are online. There's literally nobody watching this that can't be part of one of my workshops. And as well as that, I'm going to offer a free trial class. So all of the benefits is, obviously we've talked about the agency and we've talked about the fact that our agency, literally people can join our agency as soon as they join, and like I say, we promote people. We have had some amazing auditions over the years and we are the real deal. All right. We under promise and over deliver. So get in touch as soon as possible. It will be great to hear from you. And we just want to get you in our workshop and trying exactly what we do and understanding what we do, because we think it's incredibly positive. We think we're the real deal in terms of getting emerging actors to become established actors. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. But thank you so much for your time. If you're just joining us, get right back to the beginning of this, because it's been a really interesting debate at some points, and it's really helped me understand this subject just from talking out with you guys. Much love.